The upcoming summer season in Great Britain traditionally brings with it a series of highly anticipated high society events that capture the imagination of millions around the globe, blending centuries-old pageantry with modern social intrigue. Among these illustrious occasions, few can rival the sheer prestige and cultural significance of the Royal Ascot, a premier racing festival where the intersection of traditional aristocracy, elite sporting excellence, and high fashion creates a spectacle unlike any other. For 5 days in June, the pristine lawns of Ascot become the epicenter of the British social calendar, drawing prominent figures, international dignitaries, and the highest tiers of the nobility into a carefully choreographed display of national heritage. Central to this grand tradition is the daily royal procession, a magnificent display of horse-drawn carriages that glides down the straight mile of the racecourse precisely at 2 o'clock, signaling the arrival of the sovereign and senior members of the royal household. This breathtaking ritual is not merely a display of historical pomp, it serves as a powerful visual representation of the contemporary monarchy's inner circle, signaling to the public and the assembled presses exactly who stands at the heart of the institution's current power dynamic. As the carriages approach under the summer sun, every detail, from the seating arrangements to the subtle interactions between the passengers, is analyzed by royal commentators and onlookers, seeking to decipher the shifting alliances and status changes within the House of Windsor. However, as the final preparations for this year's festival reach their peak, the atmosphere surrounding the event is charged with an underlying tension that threatens to overshadow the celebration itself. As the public and palace insiders alike debate a deeply polarizing question regarding family loyalty, public accountability, and the future representation of the crown. If you want to stay informed about the hidden dynamics, shifting alliances, and exclusive behind-the-scenes stories unfolding within the world's most famous dynasty, consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell so you never miss an in-depth update on these unfolding events. The core of the current debate centers on whether the privilege of participating in this highly visible procession should extend beyond the working core of the family to include individuals whose familial ties are complicated by recent historical controversies, presenting a significant public relations challenge for the modern institution. The decision regarding who is granted a seat in these ceremonial carriages carries immense symbolic weight, as it effectively communicates the official endorsement of the sovereign and defines the public face of the monarchy during a time when its societal role is under intense scrutiny. For generations, the composition of the royal procession was seen as a settled matter of family tradition, a joyful gathering of the extended clan to celebrate a shared passion for equestrian sports and national pageantry in front of a supportive audience. Yet, in an era defined by a growing demand for transparency, institutional modernization, and a streamlined public image, every public appearance by non-working members of the family becomes a lightning rod for debate regarding luxury, privilege, and the responsibilities inherent in royal status. The escalating discussion among royal experts and the general public highlights a profound rift in expectations, balancing the desire to protect innocent family members from the fallout of past scandals against the strict necessity of maintaining the dignity and moral authority of the institution as a whole. This delicate balancing act places the current leadership of the monarchy in a challenging position, as they must navigate the complex emotional ties of family loyalty while simultaneously managing a sophisticated global media apparatus that dissects every move for signs of weakness or institutional tone deafness. As the public voices its opinions through various forums and polls, the anticipation surrounding the opening day of the festival reaches a fever pitch, with the entire nation waiting to see how the palace will resolve this complicated dilemma of presence and perception. The underlying controversy touches upon deeper systemic questions about how the monarchy defines its modern boundaries, how it manages the public profiles of its extended members, and what these decisions reveal about the long-term vision for a more focused and accountable institution. Every summer, the dazzling images of pristine top hats, exquisite designer dresses, and perfectly groomed horses broadcast a message of timeless stability and effortless grace to the world. But behind this polished facade lies a complex web of logistical planning, personal anxieties, and strategic calculations. The public's fascination with these events extends far delayed past the sporting outcomes, focusing instead on the human drama playing out in real time beneath the heavy weight of historical tradition and public expectation. As the countdown to the opening procession begins, the debate over who will emerge from the palace gates in those iconic carriages intensifies, illustrating the ongoing struggle to harmonize ancient privileges with the uncompromising demands of 21st century public scrutiny. The intensifying discussion surrounding the Royal Ascot procession brings into sharp focus the complex positions of Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, the daughters of the Duke of York, who find themselves navigating a challenging landscape within the contemporary British monarchy. For years, the two princesses have maintained a unique status, possessing royal titles and attending major national celebrations, while carving out their own professional careers independent of the official roster of full-time working royals. This dual existence has allowed them to enjoy a level of personal freedom unavailable to senior members of the household. Yet it also places them in a vulnerable position whenever the broader public scrutinizes the privileges, lifestyles, and financial arrangements of the extended royal family. The core of the current tension lies in the contrast between their high-profile social appearances and the ongoing public fallout from their father's forced withdrawal from public duties, a situation that has cast a long shadow over their own positions. Royal commentators point out that while Beatrice and Eugenie are entirely blameless for the controversies surrounding their father, their visibility at major state and social events inevitably invites intense debate about the boundaries of the public-facing monarchy. This debate has taken on a renewed urgency in light of recent revelations regarding the substantial incomes, global travel, and luxury accommodations associated with certain members of the extended family, sparking widespread discussion about the fairness of these arrangements at a time when many ordinary citizens face significant financial challenges. The situation is further complicated by reports from palace insiders suggesting that senior members of the family, including the Prince of Wales, are increasingly determined to maintain a strict definition of the core working monarchy, viewing a streamlined and highly focused institution as essential for its long-term survival and relevance. According to well-placed sources, there is a growing consensus among the leadership that allowing non-working royals to occupy prominent roles in highly visible ceremonial events, such as the carriage procession, could send a confusing message to the public about the direction of the modern crown. This perspective holds that every public manifestation of royal status must be directly aligned with official service and public duty, rather than appearing as an entitlement reserved for extended family members who do not carry out a full schedule of official engagements on behalf of the sovereign. Conversely, defenders of the princesses argue that excluding them from traditional family gatherings and social processions would be unnecessarily harsh, punishing them for circumstances entirely beyond their control and depriving the family of too popular, articulate young women who could otherwise provide valuable support. They emphasize that Beatrice and Eugenie have consistently demonstrated loyalty and dignity, balancing their private careers with a commitment to various charitable causes. and that their inclusion in social events like Royal Ascot is a matter of family unity rather than political or institutional policy. The public, however, remains deeply divided on the issue, as evidenced by the passionate responses to recent media coverage and national polls questioning whether the sisters should be permitted to ride in the royal carriages. For many observers, the sight of the princesses in the procession is seen as an unnecessary reminder of the institutional privileges that are increasingly viewed with skepticism by a modern audience demanding greater accountability and a reduction in the overall size of the royal household. This public skepticism is fueled by ongoing discussions regarding the number of family members who continue to occupy grace-and-favour residences within historic palaces, an arrangement that critics argue is increasingly difficult to justify in the current socio-economic climate. Prominent social commentators and historians have noted that the survival of the monarchy has historically depended on its ability to adapt to changing societal expectations, and that the current pressure to limit the public roles of extended family members is a natural continuation of this evolutionary process. They argue that the institution must be seen to be responsive to public sentiment, and that even purely social traditions like the Ascot procession carry a heavy symbolic weight that can either reinforce or undermine the public's trust in the fairness and purpose of the monarchy. As the debate intensifies, the logistical and strategic planning behind the scenes at the palace becomes increasingly complex, with officials tasked with balancing the personal wishes of the family against the rigorous demands of public relations and media management. The upcoming racing festival is therefore viewed not just as a highlight of the summer social season, but as a critical testing ground for the monarchy's current public relations strategy, where every decision regarding the guest list and carriage seating will be scrutinized for clues about the future trajectory of the institution. The tension is palpable among court observers who recognize that a decision to include the princesses could provoke a backlash from critics who view it as a regression to an era of unearned privilege, while their exclusion could be interpreted as a public snub that highlights internal divisions and family discord. This delicate situation underscores the broader challenges facing the modern crown as it attempts to redefine its identity in the 21st century, balancing the rich tapestry of ancient traditions against the uncompromising demands of a skeptical and highly informed global audience. The focus on Beatrice and Eugenie serves as a microcosm for the larger institutional debate regarding who belongs within the inner circle of the monarchy, who should represent the nation on the world stage, and how the institution can best demonstrate its value and relevance to a changing society. As the final days before the festival count down, the speculation only grows, with media outlets providing continuous analysis and experts offering conflicting predictions on how the palace will ultimately handle this highly sensitive matter. The unfolding drama highlights the reality that in the modern era, no aspect of royal life is immune to public scrutiny, and even a traditional carriage ride under the summer sun can become a powerful battleground and competing visions of the monarchy's future. The resolution of this high-stakes dilemma at Royal Ascot carries profound implications that extend far beyond a single week of summer racing, touching upon the very mechanism of survival for the British monarchy in a rapidly changing world. To understand why this moment matters so deeply, one must examine the broader biographies and public standing of Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, two women who have spent their entire lives under the unyielding glare of international media scrutiny. Born into immense privilege as the granddaughters of late Queen Elizabeth II, both sisters were raised with the expectation that they would occupy a prominent place in the nation's public life. Yet their trajectories were fundamentally altered as the institution began to contract around a more streamlined core. Princess Beatrice, who has developed a successful career in the technology and corporate sector, has frequently sought to balance her private professional ambitions with her duties as a patron to numerous charitable organizations, particularly those focusing on dyslexia and children's welfare. Her marriage to Edoardo Mappelli Mozzi, a member of an ancestral Italian noble family, further solidified her position within international high society, creating a lifestyle that seamlessly blends British royal tradition with European aristocratic elegance. Similarly, Princess Eugenie has established herself within the global art world, working as a director for a major contemporary art gallery in London, while managing a busy family life with her husband, Jack Brooksbank, and their young children. Eugenie's charitable endeavors, notably her work with the Anti-Slavery International Organization and her advocacy for spinal health awareness following her own childhood surgery, have won her praise for using her platform to highlight serious global issues. Despite these individual achievements and their personal popularity among specific segments of the population, the sisters remain intrinsically linked to the broader fortunes of their public perception of their parental lineage, making their participation in state-adjacent events a highly sensitive topic for palace strategists. The ongoing discussion about their role reflects a systemic shift in how the public evaluates the necessity and cost of an extended royal family, with modern audiences increasingly questioning whether non-working members should receive the symbolic validation of official pageantry. This scrutiny is intensified by a growing demand for financial transparency, as critics point to the substantial private incomes, security costs, and historic residences associated with the extended family as areas requiring urgent reform if the monarchy is to retain its moral authority. Historians note that the modern crown faces a unique challenge in maintaining the dazzling mystique of its ancient traditions while simultaneously demonstrating a commitment to egalitarian principles and fiscal responsibility. Every ceremonial decision, therefore, becomes a highly calculated move in a larger strategic game designed to preserve public consent for an institution that relies entirely on the goodwill of the nation. The debate over the Ascot carriage procession is a perfect encapsulation of this tension, pitting the natural human desire for family inclusivity and personal loyalty against the cold, pragmatic necessities of global media management and institutional preservation. If the palace chooses a path of strict exclusion, it risks projecting an image of a cold and divided family, potentially alienating traditionalists who view the extended family as an essential component of the monarchy's historic charm and continuity. On the other hand, an overly permissive approach that allows non-working royals to occupy center stage could be interpreted as a sign of institutional tone-deafness, providing ammunition to critics who argue that the monarchy remains isolated from the economic realities experienced by ordinary citizens. This complex dynamic forces the current leadership to constantly evaluate the long-term impact of their public appearances, recognizing that in the digital age, a single image can be amplified globally within seconds to shape public opinion for years to come. The ultimate resolution of these scheduling and ceremonial questions will provide a definitive template for how the monarchy intends to handle its non-working members moving forward, establishing clear boundaries that will define the institution for the next generation. As the gates of the racecourse open and the sound of the national anthem echoes across the manicured lawns, the visual reality of the procession will finally answer the questions that have dominated the headlines for weeks, offering a clear signal regarding the internal hierarchy and strategic direction of the House of Windsor. Regardless of the immediate outcome, the intense public engagement with this issue underscores the reality that the British monarchy remains a source of endless fascination and debate, a living, historical drama where ancient privilege and modern accountability are constantly forced to coexist. The choices made during this summer festival will reverberate far beyond the boundaries of Berkshire, influencing the ongoing conversation about tradition, duty, and the evolving nature of a modern constitutional monarchy as it navigates the complexities of the 21st century.